Hey everyone, welcome to your personalized deep dive
Deep dive.
into maximizing your solo basketball training. We know you're looking to improve even when you can't get on the court with teammates.
Exactly.
And we've got some seriously effective strategies coming up,
Mm.
some even used by NBA stars.
That's right. We're going to be diving into a video from By Any Means Basketball on YouTube.
Okay,
They're a great source for players at all levels.
awesome.
This particular video breaks down some killer solo training techniques that can make a real difference in your game.
I like it, okay.
Yeah.
First up, visualization.
Yes.
Now you might be thinking, isn't that just for
Right.
yogis and meditation gurus?
Yeah.
But hold on.
Hold on.
Turns out, even Kyrie Irving,
Oh, wow.
one of the most skilled players in the NBA,
Yeah.
uses visualization to mentally rehearse game scenarios.
That's right.
And he doesn't just picture those perfect swishes.
No, that's more than that.
Right.
It is.
What?
So what's really interesting here is that top players like Kyrie,
Okay.
they use visualization to prepare for the unexpected.
Okay.
They actually visualize messing up,
Mm-hmm.
facing tough defenders, and dealing with all those less than ideal situations that inevitably happen in a game.
So you're saying instead of just picturing myself
Yeah.
hitting that wide open three-pointer,
Uh-huh.
I should also imagine a defender closing out on me,
Yes.
forcing me to adjust my shot,
Yeah.
or maybe even pass the ball.
Exactly. By visualizing those challenges, you're training your brain to react instinctively
Yes.
and stay composed under pressure.
Right.
So the more game-like your mental rehearsal is,
Right.
the better prepared you'll be for the real deal.
Okay, I can see how that would be super helpful, especially in those clutch moments when the pressure's on.
Yes.
But how does visualization
Mhm.
actually translate to improved performance on the court?
Well, there's actually a scientific basis for this called differential learning.
Yep.
The idea is that by practicing under a variety of conditions,
Okay.
especially difficult ones,
Mm-hmm.
you're essentially training your brain to adapt and perform under pressure.
Okay.
It's like building mental muscle memory
Interesting.
for those tough game situations.
So next time I'm practicing alone, I shouldn't just be going for those easy layups and wide open shots.
Yeah.
I should be challenging myself
Yes.
with different angles,
Yeah.
distances,
Yeah.
and even imagining a defender in my face.
That's it?
That's how I build that mental toughness for game day.
Yes, precisely.
Yeah.
But remember, visualization works best when you have a solid foundation of actual playing experience to draw upon.
Right.
You need to have encountered those game situations in real life
Mm-hmm.
to truly bring them to life in your mind.
Right. You can't just pull those scenarios out of thin air. You have to have actually experienced them on the court.
Exactly.
All right. Moving on. Let's dive into shooting drills,
Okay.
where solo training really shines.
Yes, you've got complete control over your reps
Okay.
and what specific aspects of your shot you want to improve,
Got it.
whether it's your balance, range, fluidity, or speed.
Right.
But here's a key insight from the video. Avoid mindless repetition.
So you're saying that even though I'm by myself,
Yeah.
I shouldn't just get in a robotic rhythm of shooting the same shot.
Exactly.
Hmm.
To really improve, you need to embrace variability.
Okay.
Each shot should be slightly different.
Got it.
Change your angle, distance, footwork.
Okay.
Basically, keep your brain and your body guessing.
So even something as simple as retrieving my own rebounds after each shot
Yes,
adds that variability and makes the drill more game-like.
it does.
I'm constantly moving, adjusting, just like I would in a real game.
Exactly.
And here's another tip to add a psychological edge to your shooting drills.
Oh,
Set goals for each session
okay.
to simulate that game time pressure.
I love that.
What are some examples of goals I could set for myself?
Tell yourself you have to make 7 out of 10 shots from each spot before you can move on to the next drill. Or see how many shots you can make consecutively without missing.
Right.
You might be surprised how much that mental pressure can elevate your game.
All right, visualization and shooting. Locked in.
Locked in.
But now,
Yeah.
let's tackle finishing at the rim.
All right.
This seems like it would be tough to practice alone.
You're right. It can be tricky because, let's be honest, layups in an empty gym are a whole lot easier than when you have defenders trying to block your shot.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like that feeling of a defender
Right.
closing in on you as you're trying to finish at the rim.
Yeah.
So how do I make solo finishing drills more challenging and realistic?
So there are a few key strategies.
Okay,
First, focus on developing new footwork and coordination patterns.
got it.
Don't just go up for a basic layup every time.
Okay,
Instead, force yourself to adjust in midair. Maybe try a reverse layup, a floater, or even a hook shot.
I can see how that would help. I need to be able to react to whatever the defense throws at me, so the more options I have, the better.
Yes, exactly.
Another technique is to exaggerate your touch drills.
Oh, okay.
This means really focusing on the finesse of your shots around the rim.
Right.
Think high off the backboard, different spins on the ball,
Yes.
or those soft touch shots that seem to just drop right in.
Yeah, you're basically turning yourself into a touch specialist.
I love it.
That's exactly what you want to develop when you're finishing in traffic.
Right.
It's not just about power, it's about finesse and control.
Okay, what else can I do to really push myself when I'm practicing finishing alone?
This might sound a little unorthodox,
Okay.
but create physical challenges for yourself.
Okay, I'm all ears. Give me some examples.
Think about jumping over obstacles before you lay up,
Okay.
finishing with off-balance landings,
Mm-hmm.
or even incorporating some resistance training into your movements. You want to make those layup drills as tough as possible so that when you're in a real game, they feel easier by comparison.
So I might look a little silly in the gym,
Right.
but I'm actually training my body and mind to adapt and overcome those challenges.
That's the spirit.
Yeah.
Solo practice is all about pushing your limits and getting outside your comfort zone.
I like it.
Now let's move on to another crucial skill. Ball handling.
Okay.
You might think it's as simple as just dribbling around, but there's a lot more to it than that.
I have a feeling you're going to tell me that just mindlessly dribbling for an hour isn't going to cut it, right?
You guessed it. Mindless dribbling won't get you very far.
Right.
To truly improve your ball handling, you need to focus on movement and challenging footwork.
Okay.
You want to integrate your dribbling practice with dynamic movements that mimic game situations.
So we're not just standing still and dribbling between our legs. We're moving around, changing directions,
Yes.
maybe even incorporating some defensive slides
Exactly.
or jumps into our drills.
Think of it as dancing with the ball.
Okay.
You want to be smooth, fluid, and in control,
Uh-huh.
but also unpredictable and explosive.
All right. So it's all about being creative and finding ways to challenge myself, even when I'm practicing alone. This is great stuff. But what about court vision and that intuitive feel for the game? Is that even possible to train solo?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
You're right. That's one of the trickier aspects to train alone.
Right.
After all, court vision is all about reading the game,
Mm-hmm.
anticipating your opponent's moves,
Yeah.
and making split-second decisions.
Right.
And that's hard to do when you're the only one on the court.
So how can I develop that sense of court awareness and decision-making even when I'm practicing by myself? Is there anything I can do off the court that might help?
Absolutely. And it's something you probably already do, but might not realize its full potential.
Yeah.
Film study.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Watching basketball
Yeah.
can actually help me improve my own game?
Yes.
I thought that was just for entertainment.
It's definitely entertaining, but it can be so much more than that. Watching game film with a critical eye can be incredibly valuable for developing your court vision.
Wow.
When you're watching, try to put yourself in the shoes of the players, especially the point guards.
So I'm not just passively watching the game.
Right.
I'm actively analyzing what's happening,
Yeah,
trying to understand the player's decision-making process.
exactly. Pay close attention to how they read the defense, how they create space for themselves and their teammates, how they find passing lanes that you might not have even noticed.
Wow, I never thought about it like that before.
Yeah.
I could see how that would really help me understand the game on a deeper level.
Mhm.
And if I'm focusing on what's happening off the ball,
Yeah,
that's basically like training my court vision, right?
precisely.
Okay,
And here's another tip. Don't just focus on the offensive players.
got it.
Pay attention to the defensive players as well.
Okay.
How do they position themselves? How do they react to screens? How do they contest shots without fouling?
So it's like I'm getting a masterclass in basketball strategy just by watching the game. I'm starting to see how film study can be a game changer for my solo training.
I agree.
Okay, so we've covered visualization, shooting, finishing, ball handling, and even film study for court vision.
Right.
Is there anything else I need to know about maximizing my solo training before we wrap up this first part?
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't forget the power of experimentation.
Okay.
Solo practice is the perfect time to try new moves.
Right.
Imitate your favorite players
Uh-huh.
and step outside your comfort zone.
I love that. This is where I can really let loose, have some fun, and maybe even discover some hidden talents I didn't know I had.
Yeah,
But how do I know if those new moves are actually effective?
that's a great question. While solo practice is the perfect time to experiment, it's crucial to eventually test those new skills against live defense to see if they truly hold up in a game situation.
Right, you can practice that fancy new crossover 1,000 times in an empty gym, but it won't mean much if it falls apart the moment a defender puts pressure on you.
Exactly. Think of solo practice as your laboratory for developing new skills and refining your technique.
Okay.
But always remember that the ultimate test is how those skills perform in a real game setting.
All right, so it's all about finding that balance between experimentation and practical application.
Yes.
I'm starting to see the big picture here. So as we wrap up this first part of our deep dive into solo basketball training, what's the main takeaway I should keep in mind?
The key to effective solo training is finding the right level of challenge and making your practice as game-like as possible.
Okay.
Embrace the variability, the challenges,
Right.
and even the imperfections that come with real game scenarios.
That makes perfect sense. It's not about taking it easy on myself just because I'm practicing alone.
Right.
It's about pushing myself,
Yes.
finding those weaknesses, and
Exactly.
turning them into strengths.
Yes.
So next time I'm in the gym by myself,
Yeah.
I'm going to channel my inner Kyrie, visualize those tough game situations, and really push myself to improve.
That's the spirit. And remember, even though you're practicing solo,
Right.
you're not alone on this journey.
Yeah.
We're all here to support you and help you reach your full potential.
Thanks for that. And stay tuned for part 2, where we'll break down even more specific drills and techniques to help you take your solo training to the next level.
Sounds good. Welcome back to our deep dive on solo basketball training. Now that we've covered the big picture, let's get into some specific drills and techniques
Okay.
that you can use to make the most of your solo sessions.
Awesome. I'm ready to get practical. Where should we start?
Let's go back to shooting drills for a second.
Okay.
Remember we talked about the power of variability?
Yeah.
Well, that applies not only to the types of shots you're taking,
Right.
but also to how you set up your drills.
So instead of just standing in one spot and shooting,
Yeah.
I could move around the court, taking shots from different spots and angles.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to get creative with your footwork. Practice catching the ball on the move,
Yeah.
pivoting,
Right.
and squaring up to the basket quickly.
So if I'm usually a catch and shoot player,
Uh-huh.
I could practice catching the ball while coming off a screen,
Yes.
taking a dribble or two, then pulling up for a jumper.
You got it. You're simulating those in-game scenarios
Right.
where you won't always have the perfect setup for your shot.
Right.
Another great shooting drill you can do solo
Okay.
is the classic around the world drill.
Ah, yes. I remember doing this one back in the day.
Yeah.
You basically start at one spot on the court,
Yep.
take a shot, then move to a different spot,
Mm-hmm.
take another shot,
Yep.
and so on, working your way around the key. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
It's fantastic for building consistency from all different distances and angles, and you can add variations to make it even more challenging.
Like what?
You could add a time limit to each shot,
Okay.
forcing yourself to shoot under pressure,
Right.
or set a specific number of makes you need a hit from each spot before moving on.
Ooh, I like those ideas. Now, what about finishing drills? We talked about the importance of making them tougher,
Right.
but do you have any specific examples?
Absolutely. One really effective drill is the Mikan drill,
Okay.
but with a twist.
Okay.
Instead of just alternating hands for each layup,
Mm-hmm.
try incorporating different finishes.
So I might do a right-handed layup,
Yeah.
then a left-handed reverse layup,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe a right-handed hook shot.
You got it. You're not just working on your touch around the rim,
Right.
but also improving your coordination
Yeah.
and building a wider range of finishing moves.
Right.
Another great drill is the cone touch drill.
I've never heard of that one.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
What's the idea? It's all about improving your control and touch around the basket.
Okay.
You'll need a cone
Mm-hmm.
or any marker you can place near the basket.
Got it.
Dribble towards the basket, touch the cone with your offhand before you take off. Then finish the layup.
So I'm basically adding an obstacle that forces me to adjust my body and shot in midair.
Exactly. It's a great way to simulate the challenge of finishing in traffic
Right.
when defenders are all over you.
That sounds tricky.
Yeah,
This is great stuff. I'm adding that one to my list.
awesome.
Okay. What about ball handling drills? You mentioned the importance of movement and challenging footwork.
Yes.
How can I work that into my practice?
One of my favorite drills is the figure eight drill.
Okay.
You dribble the ball in a figure eight pattern
Mm-hmm.
around two cones,
Okay.
alternating hands as you go.
So I'm working on my crossover, my behind the back,
Yeah.
and my coordination all at once.
Precisely. And as you get more comfortable,
Right.
you can make it harder by increasing your speed,
Okay.
using lower dribbles.
Mm-hmm.
or adding different moves into the pattern.
So it's not just about going fast. It's
Yeah.
about control, quick changes of direction,
Yeah.
and maintaining my balance, right?
Absolutely. Another great drill is the suicide drill.
It does sound a bit intense.
It's a challenging drill, but incredibly effective
Okay.
for improving your agility, speed, and ball handling under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Set up 4 markers in a straight line,
Okay.
each about 10 feet apart.
And then what?
Start at the first marker,
Okay.
dribble to the second, touch it, dribble back to the first, then to the third, touch it, back to the first, and so on.
Okay, I see where the suicide part comes in.
Yeah,
That sounds like a killer workout.
it is, but it's fantastic for simulating those bursts of speed and changes of direction you need in a game.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be thanking yourself later when you're blowing by your opponents on the court.
Okay, I'm adding it to my list. I'm all about pushing myself.
Good.
Now, one more time on film study.
Okay.
We talked about how it can help with court vision,
Right.
but what exactly should I be paying attention to when I'm watching?
Great question. Try to put yourself in the shoes of the players,
Okay,
especially the point guards.
right.
Analyze their movements, their decision-making,
Yep.
how they react to different situations.
So I might watch how a point guard reads the defense,
Yes,
how they create space for their teammates, how they find those passing lanes that I wouldn't even see.
exactly. And don't just focus on the offense.
Right.
Pay attention to the defense, too.
Okay.
How do they position themselves?
Mm-hmm.
React to screens.
Yeah.
Contest shots without fouling.
Wow, it's like getting a free coaching session just by watching the game.
You got it.
Yeah.
As you watch more film,
Yeah.
you'll start to notice patterns and tendencies,
Mm-hmm.
both in your own game and in the game of others.
Right.
Like unlocking a whole new level of understanding.
Right.
And the best part is, you can do it from the comfort of your own couch.
This has been so helpful. I feel like I've already learned a ton about how to make the most of my solo training.
Good. I'm glad.
And there's even more to come. Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll dive into the mental game and how you can train your mind for peak performance, even when you're practicing alone. We're back for the final part of our deep dive. Okay.
Into solo basketball training. We've covered a ton of ground,
We have.
from visualization
Yeah.
to drills
Right.
to film study.
Right.
But there's one crucial piece we haven't tackled yet.
You're right. We focused a lot on the physical side of training, but the mental game is just as important,
Okay.
especially when you're practicing solo.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Mm-hmm.
How can I train my mind to be stronger when I'm out there by myself?
One technique that might surprise you
Okay.
is mindfulness.
Mindfulness. I thought that was more of a meditation thing,
Right.
not something you'd use on the basketball court.
It definitely is a big part of meditation,
Right.
but it can be a game changer for athletes too. When you're
Yeah.
practicing alone,
Yeah.
try to be fully present in the moment.
Okay.
Pay attention to your breath, your body, the feel of the ball in your hands.
So instead of just going through the motions of a drill, I'm really tuning in to everything that's happening.
Yeah.
Like how my feet feel when I pivot.
The sound of the ball bouncing.
Exactly. This kind of focused awareness can help you stay calm under pressure, make better decisions, and even improve your overall performance.
Okay, so when you're more aware of what you're doing,
Right.
you're less likely to get distracted by negative thoughts or get in your own head.
Absolutely. And speaking of negative thoughts, it's important to develop strategies for dealing with them.
Yeah.
Because let's be real, everyone has those moments of self-doubt, even the pros.
Oh, for sure. Sometimes it feels like my inner critic is louder than the actual crowd.
Yeah.
So what are some ways to combat that negative self-talk?
One of the most effective strategies is positive self-talk.
So instead of beating myself up after a missed shot,
Yeah.
I might tell myself, okay, that one didn't go in, but I'm going to adjust and make the next one.
Exactly. It's about reframing those negative thoughts into positive and constructive ones.
Right.
You're not denying the miss,
Yeah.
but you're also not letting it derail your entire practice.
I like that. It's like being your own coach, right?
It is.
Giving yourself those pep talks and encouragement that you'd get from a teammate or a coach.
You got it.
Right.
And that kind of positive self-talk can also help you stay motivated and focused
Right.
during those long solo training sessions. It's easy to lose steam when you're by yourself,
Yeah.
but those positive affirmations can keep you going.
This is all such great advice. But before we wrap up this deep dive, there's one more thing I want to touch on.
Okay, what's that?
Don't forget to have fun.
Of course. That should always be a part of the game.
I know, right? It's easy to get so caught up in improving and getting better that we forget to actually enjoy the process.
Yeah.
But basketball is a game.
It is.
And games are meant to be fun.
So true. Solo practice is the perfect opportunity to let loose a little,
Right.
experiment, try new moves,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even try to recreate that crazy dunk you saw on YouTube.
I love that.
Yeah.
Solo practice as a time for playful exploration.
Yes.
I'm definitely going to try that. Awesome. Behind the back, between the legs, no look pass I saw online.
Okay.
It probably won't work.
Right.
But hey, at least it'll be fun to try.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to let your creativity flow.
Right.
You never know what you might discover.
All right, as we wrap up this deep dive
Yeah.
into solo basketball training,
Yep.
what's the final thought you want to leave our listener with?
Remember that solo training is a journey, not a destination.
Okay.
It's about consistently showing up, putting in the work,
Mm-hmm.
and enjoying the process of becoming a better player.
Right.
And remember, even when you're practicing alone, you're not truly alone.
Yeah,
There's a whole community of players out there supporting each other and striving to improve.
that's a great point. We're all in this together, constantly learning and growing.
Yeah.
So keep practicing, keep learning,
Mm-hmm.
keep having fun, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself. And hey,
Yeah.
if you ever need a virtual high five or some extra motivation,
Yeah.
we're just a podcast episode away.
That's right. We're always here to cheer you on.
And that's a wrap for our deep dive into solo basketball training. We hope you enjoyed it and learned some valuable tips to take your game to the next level.
Yes.
Keep practicing, and we'll catch you next time for another insightful exploration of a topic you're passionate about.
Sounds good.
Until then, keep learning and keep diving deep.